Okay, good morning everybody. My name is Justin Hill and these are the Marks Group GoldMine Tips and Tricks. This is our GoldMine Tips and Tricks webinar. We put these on once a month. As a matter of fact, that you can go to blog.marksgroup.net and see any of our previous tips and tricks. We have all sorts of tips and tricks for GoldMine, Crystal Report, CRM, QuickBooks, and a couple of other items. Today we're going to look at a couple of different things. We're going to look at how to set the default search field, and I'm going to also show you a couple of nice shortcuts that I like to use when searching for contact records in GoldMine. We're also going to look at quoting only part of an email when replying. If you use GoldMine for your email like I do, what I find is that if I have any long email conversations with clients, sometimes the body of this message that has been replied to will get extremely large. There's actually a really easy way to just quote only part of an email when replying. And actually I wanted to dedicate the bulk of our time today on using the Lookup.ini, which in my opinion is kind of the unsung hero of GoldMine data automation. You can think of them as like a quote-unquote poor man's SQL triggers. So let's go ahead and jump right in. When I search in GoldMine, actually let me clarify that. When I search in GoldMine, I actually use the following shortcut. If I want to search by the contact field, I'll double click right on the word contact here. You'll notice my search center comes up and I'm searching by contact. If I want to search by company, I'll double click on the word company. So if I double click on that, I'm now searching by company. So on and so forth. For last, I double click on the word last, and you kind of get the idea. Even phone one works. So that's actually the way that I've always searched for contact records in GoldMine. So I always immediately bring up my search center, searching for the field that I'm questioning. What I found is that after working with a lot of clients in the field, a lot of people don't do it that way. What they're actually doing is just clicking this search button right here. And you'll notice that when I do that, it's always bringing up a search by contact. So the question is, how can I have that search button be a little more effective? I'm not always looking by contact, and to make matters even worse, if I drop this search by down, it can be a little daunting, especially for the beginning user. So let's look at how to make that stick. So for instance, if I search by last and I find a record based on last, if I go back to search, you'll notice it's defaulted back to contact. So let's see how to make that sticky. I'm going to go to my options, and that's under tools, options. These are my per user GoldMine options. You almost certainly have access to them. They can be locked down for security purposes, but they're typically not. We're going to the Lookup tab. And right here we're going to look at this default lookup by field. You can see here that it is indeed set to contact, so every time I click the search button, it's going to search on contact. I can set that to company, but that doesn't really get me any further down the road. What if I don't want to search by company? I'm going to have to drop down that search by list again and navigate my list of fields. I like to use remember lookup by, because when I do that, now if I search by last, let's say if I just search by last, and I click my search button now, it remembers that I was searching by last. And that's actually where a lot of GoldMine users spend their time searching, is by the last name. But certainly, if I change that to contact and look up a record based on contact, again, my search button remembers that. So again, that was tools, options, and then lookup, and then remember lookup by. To be honest, I do recommend, well, I can't recommend, everyone has their own preferences, but again, I always just double click on the field I want to search by. And that gets me there pretty quickly. Okay, let's look at quoting just part of an email when replying. I'm not really going to spend a lot of time on this. I just wanted to show you guys. Incidentally, I can hit F5 to bring up my email center. That's a nice shortcut to use. So that was just the F5 key to bring up my email center. You'll notice that even though I'm in this weird training database, I have Wile E. Coyote here and a couple of Acme records, even though I'm in this training database, my email center is showing me what is obviously my Marks Group work email. And that hammers home a good point. If you chose to create multiple contact sets, which is what they're called in GoldMine, you can have actually multiple databases. See here, I have training, I have my common, I have a development set, I have a couple of testing sets I've been using for clients. You are able to actually create many different contact sets, but they all still share, for instance, the same email center, the same calendar, so on and so forth. So there are some centralized parts of the GoldMine system. So if you're looking to maybe, I know a lot of clients like to maintain separate contact sets. They might have a suspects contact set, which has records imported into it on a pretty frequent basis. And then as those records are qualified in our suspect contact set, they can then be easily moved into our production database. Just something to think about. What I wanted to show you, though, is that when I'm looking at an email, and if I only want to reply to part of this email, because you'll notice that when I hit reply, it's going to grab the entire body of the email. Well, I don't exactly want that. I only want perhaps this little line right here. All I have to do is just select that out, and now when I hit reply, that is the only part of the email that is quoted in my reply. I find myself doing that pretty much all the time automatically before I reply to an email. I don't know about you guys, but I use email heavily, so it is nothing to see an email after a while will get maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pages long, and replying to the whole thing seems to be cumbersome after a while. So again, that was just a quick aside I wanted to show you guys. What I really wanted to get into today was the Lookup.ini. Okay, and now you'll notice that when I create a brand new contact record in my GoldMine, my record type is automatically filled as prospect. Let's see that again. I'm going to delete this record. Now let me restart my GoldMine because my little process monitor there sometimes gets in the way. So what I'm trying to show you guys is that I have this record type identifier down here. So what we typically see in the field is that most GoldMine users will have like a client type or a customer type. I have a record type. And that record type can be a couple of different things. Prospect, sponsorship, signed, or customer. What I want GoldMine to do is that whenever I create a new record, I want it to automatically be a prospect. So I click new record, and make a prospect test. Now when I do that, you'll notice here my record type hasn't done anything yet. Of course, I'm more than welcome to go ahead here and select prospect, but I want to be more fancy than that. I don't want to have to worry about that. I hit OK, I have my new record. The record type is defaulted to prospect. The way that's happening is by virtue of a file called the Lookup.ini. Now we all know about ini files, right? Because we've been using Windows since we were, barely out of short pants. The Lookup.ini is a way to automate data entry. And the way we deal with the Lookup.ini is that we're going to go to our GoldMine folder, and in your case, it's going to be your GoldMine folder up on your network. In my case, it's actually local. And what I have is a Lookup.ini file. And when I open that up, it opens up into Notepad. It's just a Notepad document. And in order to default my records to prospect, I just the following code. So what the Lookup.ini consists of is an auto update block. So we have this auto update header here, and underneath that I'm telling GoldMine that whenever a new record is created, look at key 1. I want you to think about key 1. Now key 1, for those of you who have really gotten into the nitty-gritty of GoldMine, that's actually the underlying field name of my record type field. Let me show you how to get that. You'll see here my the field I'm dealing with is my record type. At least that's the way it looks in my GoldMine. The back end name of that field, if I right click and I go into my screen design mode, that was just a right click screen design, and then I just singly click on my record type, you can see here that the actual field name is key 1, because that's one of the default canned fields that GoldMine comes with. So we can do the same. We can just singly click on any of these other fields to see what the back end name is. And this is a nice trick to know, especially if you want to run reports, you want to know a field name for a report, but in our case we need to know that record type is key 1, because it needs to have the back end name in our Lookup.ini. Okay, so let's just, and I hate to lead you through this so painfully slow, but I find that the Lookup.ini can be really useful, and I really want you guys to get it. So I have an auto update, and part of that auto update is telling GoldMine that when a new record is created, think about key 1. And then we skip down.